Peace and greetings. Welcome back to another day of U Vision, where I'm still trying to figure out why I chose this name. Honestly, right now, I just want to take the time out to thank my first subscriber. I really appreciate it. I made sure not to tell any family, friends, share it on my social media. I made sure I didn't do any of that. So for you to be my first subscriber, I really do thank you. I really appreciate it. Only thing I could do right now is if I ever get to the point where, where people see like they have all these subscribers but no viewers. If I ever get to that point and start complaining, I promise you on everything, I'm going to say all these subscribers except for one. Except for one. And that'll be you. Everybody else, I'm going to talk trash. I'm going to still love them. Other than that, you're excused every time. You you got the VIP pass. I appreciate you. You ain't even gotta watch no more YouTube. You none of my YouTube. You ain't gotta watch no more of them. Thank you. So now, honestly, the first part I really wanted to start with was Biden's triple step. That's what I'm gonna call it, right? His triple step. I don't like. So I'm gonna start off with her. She says he fell 7 times. He did not. He did not. Several times. No. No, 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 no. That's false. Okay, I only showed that because there's a lot of people that have not seen the video. So I thought I may just add the little video here. It's only 25 seconds. He did not fall 7 times, but it was kind of funny. It does make you question, even to yourself. You ain't got to be out loud about it. It does make you question. Moving on, though. So now we have the vaccine mystery. Why J&J's shots aren't reaching more arms. Me personally, J&J, which is, of course, as you see right here, Johnson & Johnson. I'm not so keen on, this is my personal opinion, I'm not so keen on, you know, backing Johnson & Johnson with their history. I'm not so keen on, yes, they've been around for a while. They've not really done vaccines to my knowledge. And from all of their cancerous claims and cancerous lawsuits that they've also paid out and had to sit through court. Some of them go through court just paid off. So there's a lot of claims about, Johnson and Johnson. Some we won't get into. But if you do your research, you'll see that a lot of claims have been made against Johnson and Johnson. A lot of lawsuits have been made against Johnson and Johnson. So before you go ahead and trust them, look those up and see how you feel afterwards. I know how I feel. I may not discuss them openly here. Still my second YouTube video, so let's try to be along the lines gradually. I'll probably get, a couple of videos removed and going on from there. But for now, we'll stay along the lines. Stay within legality terms. All right, max that out. So let me see. Yes, this is actually the article. So okay, cool. Let's go. Johnson & Johnson single shot vaccine was supposed to be the catalyst for the country's return to normal. Yes, because they presume that because Pfizer and Moderna, you need to take two shots, and Johnson only need one. But as you see in the article, the efficacy ratings are higher on Pfizer and Moderna, still in the 90s and 80s, and Johnson, which is AstraZeneca, is still in the 60s and having issues being pushed through. But we'll get into it during the article, right? Instead, it's sparking confusion, finger pointing between the states and Biden's administration over why millions of doses are sitting unused. Almost 3 weeks after the Food and Drug Administration authorized the shots, no one appears to be able to explain why immunizations are lagging. Some states are thought to be intentionally holding back shots, while others say it takes time to inoculate populations like the homebound. As we get into it, they're going to say they're giving reasons that the Johnson vaccine, because it's only given one shot, we can give it to certain areas that we assume are going to come back for the second shots, those hard to reach areas where it takes a little while for them to come in to get the shots. So that's the latest and greatest move for it's supposed to be. I just feel like that's for the poorer population. Uh, Over the course of the past 2 weeks, senior Biden administration officials have met privately to try to determine what happened. Two senior administration officials believe states are conserving their J&J supplies until there's enough to reach undeserved communities and specific groups, like teachers or the disabled. But multiple state officials say they're using whatever they can, whatever they get as soon as they get it. What's clear is around 2.3 million of the 4.3 million doses of vaccines delivered have actually been administered. Between 140,000 and 200,000 doses have made it into people's arms in recent days, according to the Centers for Disease and Controls and Prevention. The bumpy J&J rollout highlights the challenges the White House still faces ensuring a timely and steady administration of COVID vaccines, with the President Joe Biden's eyeing July 4th as Independence Day from the virus. Because it takes just 2 weeks to achieve immunity with the J&J shot compared to the 5 or 6 weeks for two doses of shots from the Pfizer and Moderna. You know what's crazy though? Just to put a pause there, if they had really given this push like with the Pfizer and Moderna as they're doing with the J&J, 5 to 6 weeks would have probably been done by now. That's my opinion. Respectively, the absence of enough one and done vaccines has a ripple effect, slowing the overall pace of rollout. As we go further, I'm going to show that Pfizer and Moderna also um are pushing for only using one shot instead of two. Let's see. Biden Biden's administration officials had repeatedly warned the initial J&J deployment would be rocky, since there was only a limited supply of shots available and in the opening weeks. Problems could also be compounded by reporting lags, but they expect the distribution to smooth out when more of the vaccines become available at the end of this month. You can't distribute the vaccine equitably if there are enough doses to distribute, one senior health official says. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Gradually, okay, this is where I really want to get to, but we're gonna get there. I want you to understand, because it's my first one or two videos so far, that I'm going through all of the article, the whole article. So if I ever parse through the article, you understand that I've already read the article. And of course, I'll screen through the article so that if you wanted to pause and read through it yourself, you could do that. No discrepancies here. Mm, Because states have the final say so in how their allotments are distributed, some are using the J&J vaccine on population hard to reach for a second shot. As I said, second shot appointment. Others are putting speed over equity and sending out shots broadly. It may be a little slower. Wow. It may be a little slower rollout because everybody is trying to decide how to use this particular vaccine, said Marcus Policia, chief medical officers of the Association of State and Territorial Health Officials. West Virginia is initially using the J&J vaccine shot to inoculate its homeless and homebound population, as well as those with intellectual and development disabilities living in congregate settings. By next week, health officials anticipate they will use up the entire first shipment of 15,000 J&J shots. That's a very small amount. But I mean, that's only in comparison to the area that it's been sent to, which I don't know the number, the population number. And those vaccine appointments are already lined up. According to Clay Marsh, West Virginia COVID-19 Cesar, I think that people are getting a feel for or how to do this the best. Marsh said, we're just trying to build the framework, the logistics, the process so that we can most effectively and efficiently take advantage of this new opportunity. Pennsylvania is using its 107,600 doses of J&J vaccine, J&J to vaccinate teachers and other school staff in an effort to get schools back into classrooms. As of Friday, nearly 83,900 shots have been administered, according to a health department spokesperson. Maryland deployed its shots to a variety of settings, such as health department, hospitals, two mass vaccination sites. Okay, this is more or less where I wanted to get to. No, emphasize it. Okay, between here and below. We want to make sure that we're always being flexible and giving people the most amount of options. So we wanted to get in as many settings as we could, said Brian Emrose. Got it. The state's assistant health secretary. Earlier this month, scientists and public health experts cautioned against recommending J&J shots for specific groups, worried about perception of the shot different from others. White House coronavirus coordinator Jeff Zients even warned states that the White House could intervene with technical assistance if it learned that states were doing so. The J&J shot was shown in trials to be less overall effective than Pfizer and Moderna, but provides strong protection against hospitalization and death. I think the federal government tried to provide some leadership on that. That's helpful, Policia said. But as we've seen, states are attentive to and respectful of federal guidance, but they then do what works for them. Meanwhile, governors are sensitive to how vaccination data is displayed in privately and weekly calls with the White House. They've pressed Biden administration officials to break out how many doses the federal government is responsible for administering. Worried CDC's public tracker holds states accountable for doses that aren't under their control. Oh shit. So these local states are worried that, I mean, as you can saw in the last sentence, that the White House can blame them if the White House doesn't get the proper officials to go to these locations and administer these vaccinations and inform the public of these vaccinations. Because, local government is responsible for a certain amount, and then they would get the aid from the federal to then finish it. The CDC will be providing additional reports to show vaccination data states by both federal and state channels. According to senior administration officials, the official emphasized that the agency has focused on the number of Americans who have been vaccinated as a whole, which is relevant for disease and control rather than the channel by which the shot was administered. States have access to to that information through a system called Tiberius. Tiberius. Close enough. It's unclear how many doses of J&J vaccine have been administered by federal vaccine sites, retail pharmacies, and federally qualified health centers, which states do not control, don't control. As of March 10, about 50,000 J&J doses were shipped to California, Texas, and Florida for administration at federal sites run by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. According to a spokesperson, an additional 23,000 were in transit at the time. The official said FEMA did not answer additional requests for comment about how many doses of vaccines were delivered in the past 2 weeks and how many have been administered overall. I'm saying 50,000 isn't a lot. That's not a lot for Texas, a large neighborhood, Florida, I say neighborhood, but you know what I mean. And California, they have over a million apiece. All right. So I believe that's no, 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 no. Almost left the last part out. Weekly allocation of J&J vaccines have changed in the recent days as well, according to accounts of several internal senior leadership. Briefings obtained by Politico. At the beginning of the month, the administration allocated 3.9 million doses of states and a federal program that funnels doses to retail pharmacies. Safety net health providers and pilot vaccination sites run by FEMA. Since that time, the doses have rolled out sporadically. That's deep. The administration originally told states that they may not receive more doses of the vaccine until the end of March. Then, according to one briefing dated March 11th, the administration said it planned to allocate another 400,000 doses across the country the following week. Whoa. Another briefing dated March 15 said the administration had actually bumped up the allocation a total of 600,000. It is still unclear how many J&J doses have gone through quality control and are awaiting shipment. Despite the increase in allocation numbers over the past 2 weeks, the vaccination rate remained low. I mean, okay, let's get to the next article. Gradually, you see, like, this is the first opening to get you a little acclimated to J&J. Next one, let's go with Donald Trump. Mhm. Yes, you may not like him, whatever, whatever, whatever. I get it. But he does have a social media. The assumption is he's going to have his own social media or return to a social media platform. Trump is returning to social media in a few months with his own platform. Mhm. It's a short article, so it's all right. Former President Donald Trump is coming back to social media, but this time with his own network. A Trump spokesperson told Fox News on Sunday. Jason Miller, a longtime advisor and spokesperson for Trump's 2020 campaign, told Howard Courts on Fox Media Buzz that Trump will be returning to social media in probably about 2 or 3 months. He added Trump's return will be with his own platform that will attract tens of millions of new users and completely redefine the game. Media Buzz at Jason Miller DC said President Trump returns social media redefining him. Yeah, that's what I just read, literally. In all defense, though, when Trump had Twitter, his following was about 80 million strong, right? So let's just say he gets half of that, right? 35 million. That's a pretty good number, though. Like that's not even half, but you give the idea. That's not a bad starting out for your own social media. Like, what was it? Snapchat started at 5 million when it first started out. Then it got to 10 million. Gradually it grew. You mean it's gonna overtake Snapchat's beginning phases? Crazy. This is something that I think will be the hottest ticket in social media. Miller told Kurtz. And then the thing is that if he, I just want to know what edge would he have over the other tech giants that has the technology, that has the ability, that has the knowledge, that has the data to make the changes to attract more people. What do you have, Trump, except for yourself? Yes, I was supposed to talk about politics. Yeah, my channel says politics, but technology is like the main focus majority of the time. I actually wanted to correct that, but gradually I run with it and then correct it as I go. I'm still just, throwing everything against the wall and see what sticks. Like, comment, and let me know what you prefer to hear. It's going to completely redefine the game, and everybody's going to be waiting and watching to see what President Trump does, but it will be his own platform. Miller said during his appearance on Fox News that the former president has been approached by numerous companies and is in talks with teams about the new platform. This new platform is going to be big, Miller said on Sunday. Everyone wants him, and he's going to bring millions and millions or tens of millions to his platform. The announcement comes after Trump was permanently suspended from Twitter and other social platforms, such as Facebook, following his incitement of U.S. Capitol riots on January 6th. Speculative, we can debate that, yada, yada, yada. Where hundreds of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol, leaving 5 people dead. And that's also there's been retractions by the news outlets. A New York Post had made some retractions about the guy who got hit over the head with the fire hydrant. He didn't die that way. So it's a little crazy, man. Following Trump's ban on Twitter, Jared Kushner, the former president's son-in-law and senior advisor, intervened when the other aides attempted to get Trump on fringe social media platforms, the Parlor and the Gab. Hmm. Remember that? They took down Parlor. Parlor wasn't on the App Store anymore. That shit was crazy. So, next one, we're gonna leave politics alone for a little bit. Hit with the tech. Bam, bam, bam. And I'm gonna come back with the Don't worry about it. I got the vaccine. I got the vaccine. Let you know. Let you know. That's like I'm gonna calm you down. I don't want you to have to think about the vaccine too much. I don't want you to worry about it too much. We're gonna get there. You know, fillers right now. Call it fillers. Call it a commercial. You can skip ahead. Okay, so feds probing nearly 2 dozen crashes involving Tesla cars. So I don't know if anyone's heard, but there's been some crashes and runnings with the Tesla models recently rather than prior last year or so. So they're still having issues. Okay. The feds are actively investigating nearly 2 dozen crashes involving Tesla cars, three of which have occurred in the last month. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said it's running 23 ongoing probes of Tesla crashes, including this month's pair of collisions in Michigan and a February crash that occurred near Houston. Just while I was reading this, I remember that I don't know if anyone knows, just letting you know that China has also, in certain areas of China, they have banned Tesla because China feels as though Tesla's cameras on his vehicles can spy on China. That's their excuse so far, and Elon Musk has defended himself against that and said that his cars do not spy on China. And he also claimed hypocrisy with the, like, not hypocrisy, but he was more or less saying that America doesn't even do that. So it's like, okay, we see that it's a security risk, but we still allow it. Like TikTok. We see there's a clear security risk, but since everyone's having so much fun, let's not worry about it. It just doesn't matter. But okay. Hmm. In July, NHTSA said its special crash investigation team had examined 19 crashes involving Tesla vehicles, which investigators believed some form of advanced driver assistance system was engaged at the time of incident. The large number of active NHTSA probes is the latest sign of regulators concern about the safety of Tesla vehicles as the Elon Musk led company expands its full self driving feature. which allows its cars to park themselves and stop at red lights. Tesla did not immediately respond to a request for comment Friday, but the Silicon Valley automaker has warned drivers that the advanced features require active driver assist supervision and do not make vehicles autonomous. Bro, you've been sued, you've been put against. Change the change the name, change the bleeping name, change the bleeping name from auto. What was it? What was it? What was it? What was it? I gotta look for it. Autopilot. That's it. All you gotta do is change the name from autopilot to assisted pilot feature or something similar. Like, so you kind of get people's minds jogged. Like, okay, this bird autopilot does not mean it's going to drive by itself. This word assisted driving means I need to assist the driver, the driving car. It may not sound the greatest, but you get the idea. It's all about the idea, stirring minds, you know. Damn, these crashes are bad. National Transportation Safety Board has previously blasted Tesla over the lack of safeguards for autopilot, which has been linked to at least 3 fatal crashes since 2016. Damn. Tesla, who rammed into Michigan State Trooper patrol car early Wednesday morning, was using autopilot feature, but the system reportedly not turned on when another Tesla vehicle drove underneath the semi truck in a grisly crash in Detroit. Whoa. Authorities have not yet determined whether autopilot was involved in a February 27th crash north of Houston that left 5 cops injured. Whoa. Tesla shares climbed about 0.9% in pre-market to Friday. You know, I'm also thinking like, let's just say somebody thought they may survive a car crash and just said they had autopilot engaged and just, you know, just like let it happen and collect insurance. I don't know. I feel like there's some. I forgot. I was watching a video where the chick broke her leg to get insurance, but they don't call her on camera, and she got to pay out of pocket. Moving on. I kind of wanted to get to my little alien part. Look, I know some people don't believe in aliens. I know you need more proof. I know you need everything under the sun. But after that 180 days was signed in, we got till June, July. They're gonna let us know. 180-day deadline. I'm gonna come back to that though. Right. So J&J, Pfizer versus Moderna, how the COVID-19 vaccines compare. So AARP, right? If for all who don't know, AARP is where is it? American Association of Retired Persons, right? That's the abbreviation for it, right? So these are some trusted people. So these are some trusted people that's been doing it for a very long time, right? Since 19, you know what? Let's go into the history. AARP history, right? Dr. Ethel Percy Andrews. Whew, I'm sorry. I done butchered your name. A retired high school principal founded the AARP in 1958. AARP evolved from the National Retired Teachers Association, NRTA, which Dr. Andrews had established in 1947 to promote her philosophy of productive aging and in response to the need of retired teachers for health insurance. At this time, private insurance was virtually unavailable to older Americans. In fact, it was not until 1965 that the government enacted Medicare, which provides health benefits to persons over age of 65. Dr. Andrus approached dozens of insurance companies, which she found until she found one willing to take the risk insuring older persons. She then developed other benefits and programs, including a discount mail order pharmacy service. Over the years, NRTA heard from thousands of others who wanted to know how they could obtain insurance and other NRTA benefits without being retired teachers. After 10 years, Dr. Andrus realized that the time had come to create a new organization open to all Americans. Today, NRTA is a division with AARP. In 1963, Dr. Andrus established an international presence for AARP by founding the Association of Retired Persons International, AARPI, with offices in Lausanne, Switzerland, and Washington, D.C. AARPI disbanded in 1969. AARP has continued to develop networks and form coalitions within the worldwide aging community, promoting and the well-being of older persons internationally through advocacy, education, and service. These whole paragraphs is having difficulties. Since its inception, 1958, AARP has grown and changed dramatically in response to changes. Societal. Wow. Yeah, I might just remove this whole thing and redo it. While remaining true to his founding principles to promote independence, dignity, and purpose for older persons, to enhance the quality of life for older persons, to encourage older people to serve, not to be served. Mm, okay, okay. So now we get to differences between all three, right? It's we might not do all of it. So let's see, with the February 27th authorization by the US Food and Drug Administration, FDA, of a one-dose COVID-19 vaccine developed by Johnson & Johnson. Americans will now have three vaccines available to combat coronavirus infection. J&J is expected to soon begin shipping out up to 4 million doses that has been received in its emergency use authorization, EUA. The Centers for Disease and Control Prevention, CDC, Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices will meet Sunday and Monday to recommend whether and how J&J vaccines should be distributed. The three available vaccines use two different technologies to achieve the same end, to trigger immune responses in our cells that will allow our bodies to make antibodies to spike protein located on the surface of the coronavirus. Those antibodies will help fight COVID-19 infection if the real coronavirus enters our bodies. So now we're going to get into this and we're going to start skipping. The Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna vaccines use the same basic technology known as mRNA. To provide genetic code, our cells need to produce the antibodies. These vaccines essentially teach our cells how to make protein that promotes an immune response without using live virus that causes COVID-19. The J&J vaccine also delivers a genetic code to our cells, but it does it in a different way. This vaccine uses what's called the aden, adenovirus, adenovirus. Nailed it. A harmless virus that can no longer replicate. To basically send the genetic message to our cells, the adenovirus, just continue. You know what? I'm leaving. Goes into the nucleus. If you want to get a pronunciation, Google will give you the better pronunciation. Just spell it out. You'll be fine. Right now, I'm just going to get through it. No, 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 no. Okay, so I'm back. The proper pronunciation is adenovirus. And the adenovirus goes into the nucleus of our cells and uses our DNA to send the genetic code. So the main difference between the two vaccine technologies is the Pfizer BioNTech and the Moderna vaccines use mRNA to get the genetic instructions to our cells, while the J&J vaccine uses DNA. Beyond the different technology used to send our immune system the key to fighting off COVID-19, there are differences among the three vaccines authorized in the US, particularly when it comes to the temperatures at which they are stored, the number of doses required, which they are stored, the number of doses required, how they are administered, and the timetables for when the patients need to get their shots. Okay, so since this article is since February, I know recently that the Pfizer has applied to have their vaccine stored in a higher temperature because it was stored in a lower temperature. So previously, Pfizer had partnered with the dry ice companies that make dry ice to actually house their vaccines because they were making such below degree temperature of storage units. They seemed like the best place to go for Pfizer. And now Pfizer is saying that they don't have to be in that below degree temperature container. They could be stored in a higher temperature. I mean, this is not what it's showing here, but this is what I previously have. I don't have the article in front of me, but find it next video or by the end of this video, I'll throw it in there. How effective are they? Pfizer BioNTech vaccine is shown to be 95% overall effective in preventing symptomatic COVID-19 after 2 doses in the phase 3 clinical trials. Vaccine is shown to be 94% effective in the people age 65 and older in the clinical trials after second dose. Moderna, the vaccine is shown to be 94% overall effective in preventing symptomatic COVID-19 and its phase 3 clinical trials after the second dose. The vaccine is shown to be 86% 0.4% effective in the people age 65 and older after 2 doses. The Johnson and Johnson, but look how they treat Johnson Johnson, right? Like a little baby. You gotta help it up, right? Vaccine is showed to be 66%. So that's lower than 86, 94, 94, 95, right? Overall effective in preventing COVID-19 symptoms after 1 dose. But if you remember the first article, right? They're supposed to be helping people get over and take the vaccine because of the 1 dose, right? It's supposed to be helpful and help them want to take it. It's 1 dose, even though 95, 94, 94, 86. After 1 dose in his phase 3 multi-country clinical trials and 72% effective among participants in the United States trials. Okay. Now the vaccine has been, okay, 72%, 86, 94, 94, 95, right? Still. Vaccine is shown to be 68% effective in the people age 65 and after 1 dose. 68, 86, 94, 94, right? Significance. All three vaccines more than meet 50% effectiveness threshold required by the FDA. In addition, the data from phase 3 clinical trial for all three vaccines show that all of them are 100% effective in preventing hospitalization and death from COVID-19. But that's not really I mean, all right, no problem. That's fine. That's fine. We already went through the temperature. Let's see. Vaccines be shipped in a special container filled with dry ice and can maintain temperatures of less than 94 degrees Fahrenheit. FDA required. FDA recently agreed to let Pfizer ship and store its vials for 2 weeks and at higher temperatures. There you go, from minus 13 degrees to minus 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Vials may be placed in a regular refrigerator up to 5 days. The vaccine must be used between 30 minutes and up to 2 hours once it's thawed to room temperature. Mm. Moderna, the Moderna. The vaccine can be shipped and maintained at a standard freezing temperature of -4 degrees. The vials may be stored in standard freezer up to 6 months. The vaccine can stay standard refrigerator for 30 days. The vaccine must be used within 12 hours once at room temperature. Johnson Johnson. Johnson Johnson can ship, maintain a standard refrigerator at 36-degree temperatures for 46-degree temperatures Fahrenheit. J&J can be shipped and stored, can ship and store the vaccine at the same time, at the same temperatures. Wow. And there's no need for thawing. Opening vials can be kept outside the refrigerator at room temperature for 12 hours. Punctured vials can be kept punctured. Can be kept for 6 hours. Significant J&J vaccine is easy to transport and store because it requires standard refrigeration. The Moderna vaccine does not need to be transported and stored in as cold temperature as Pfizer. Okay, fine. If it needs to be, if it needs to be housed properly to work properly, I'm fine with that. Preparation varies slightly. Pfizer, once the vial is thawed, the vaccine must be diluted with saline, which is basically salt water, before it can be injected. Okay. Moderna and Johnson Johnson, these vaccines come ready to be administered. No dilution required. Having to dilute a vaccine is not uncommon. For example, when healthcare providers give the measles vaccine, they dilute it. Who can take the vaccine? People 16 years and older. Moderna, 18 years and older. Significance, those 18 likely won't be eligible. The vaccine under 20 until later in 2021. Anyway, since healthcare workers, nursing home residents, and staff, essential workers, and people 65 and older, those are certain risks. Slated to be the first groups vaccinated under the vaccination may be available to younger groups. Okay, now we go to the side effects. The most common side effects were pain. So for Pfizer, right? Side effects is Pfizer. The most common side effects were pain at injection sites, followed by tiredness, headache, muscle pains, chill, joint pain, fever, according to the FDA. In the United Kingdom, 2 healthcare workers reportedly severe allergic reaction, anaphylaxis, after being vaccinated. 2 healthcare workers in Alaska reported serious allergic reaction after receiving the Pfizer vaccine. In the US trial, 4 people who received the vaccine developed Bell palsy, which causes usually temporary paralysis in the facial muscles. All right. Granted, so they brought in information from the United Kingdom, and then according to the FDA, right? And then apparently there was no placebo given, right? Even though we know placebos was given. Right, so we're going to continue. Moderna. The most common side effects were pain at the injection sites, followed by tiredness, headaches, muscle pain, joint pains, chill, and FDA analysis found. It's just the wording that really blows me. Like, an FDA analysis found, according to the FDA, 3 trial participants who received vaccines developed Bell palsy. Okay, they had placebos too. So Johnson Johnson, right? The most common side effects were pain at the injection sites, followed by headache, fatigue, and myagma, muscle pain. But how did they gather this information though? According to the FDA, okay, we got that for Pfizer. And FDA analysis found. So who found this information? There was one there was one case of hypersensitivity, although not classified as an asphyxialysis. Okay, that began 2 days after the injection. But it's just like, okay, let's continue. Matter of fact, there are 4 reported cases of Bell palsy, 2 among those getting the vaccine and 2 who received the placebo. Neither one of these two, I'm sorry, Pfizer and Moderna, they do vaccines for a living. Johnson and Johnson don't, but yet they have a placebo test. Nah, man. Nah, man. Do I have to read the significance now? The side effects are similar for each vaccine. William Moss, a physician and executive director of International Vaccine Access Center at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, points out that the number of Bell palsy cases in both trials is very small and likely just represents chance. But says going forward, we'll just need to monitor more carefully and just make sure we're looking for Bell palsy and make sure that it's not related to the vaccine. Mm. When it comes to anaphylactic reactions exhibited in Great Britain, one of the participants had a history of allergic reactions. Federal officials have warned healthcare providers not to give vaccines to anyone known with a known history of severe allergic reaction to any part of the vaccine. A standard caution for all vaccines, as with Bell palsy cases, officials are expected to watch for such reactions. 2 shots of the vaccines given 2 days apart. 1 shot required. Okay, that's it. So, you get me? You feel me? So, this is the other one. Actually, let me see. Okay, so what they're saying is the right answer, in other words, depends on the science we haven't completed yet. For one, the protection from a single dose of Pfizer vaccine hasn't been definitively tested. Scientists can only infer from the trial data that the Pfizer vaccine will provide protective antibodies to roughly half of people who get 1 dose. But Dr. Chris Gill, an infectious disease specialist at the Boston University, points out that a single infection of Pfizer vaccine may be even more effective than this estimate suggests. Looking at data from a smaller window between the time the first injection should have started working and before the second injection kicked in. Gill says the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine may have an efficacy rating as high as 80 to 90% with just a single dose. Now remember, this is back in December 2018. I mean, wow. Remember, this is back in December 18, 2020. Moderna actually collected data from people who only received 1 dose of this vaccine. Gill says some 2,000 participants in Moderna phase 3 clinical trial received just a single injection of either a placebo or a vaccine. A placebo. A placebo. So they do conduct placebo experiments or the vaccine in that population. The efficacy of the single vaccine dose was roughly 80 to 90%. Moderna was not shy about showing that a single dose was so effective, and they do the math right. Gill says, after 14 days, a single dose vaccine is remarkably effective. In light of that, Gill argues that it might be better for as many people as possible to get 1 vaccine shot now, while supplies are limited. And the coronavirus is infecting and killing record numbers of Americans. A few months from now, when vaccine makers expect to scale up their manufacturing to produce hundreds of millions of doses a month, Gill says those who only got 1 dose can come back for their second booster shot. We can save a lot of lives. We can give 2 doses to people now, but in the interim, a bunch of people who could have gotten the vaccine are going to die. Wow. That's what Gill said. Is this not an example of where, yet, and again? Wait, is this not an example of where, yet again, the perfect is the enemy of the good? Wow. Yeah. Dr. Benjamin Linus, an epidemiologist also in Boston University, is still mulling over the question. There is still a lot of information that is yet to be revealed. He says, for example, is it less effective to receive a second dose of the vaccine a few months later, excuse me, than recommended schedule? Probably not, but no one knows, Linus said. And nobody knows how long the protection from a single dose will last. Of course, nobody knows how long the protection from two doses of the vaccines will either. Beyond the roughly 2-month period of the clinical trials, those studies haven't been done yet. Wow. The only way to know is to follow over time, and we've haven't had that time. Linda's counter is a great question. I'm ready to start doing some simulation models, but I don't have the data now to talk about it. All right, so let's see. Howard's Boom. Probably to find the vaccine getting a return to the booster shot is almost impossible. He says that may leave a significant number of vaccinated people susceptible. If the booster prevents that, then the two shots will lead ultimately to more lives saved over a long time. Gill is undeterred, though the logistic issues is the pain in this plan. Wow, the logistic issues in this plan would be real. He admits it. He admits, but he argues not insurmountable at the very least. He says the idea of vaccinating as many people as possible with one dose should be seriously floated. But we can't, so we can solve those problems. But we can solve those problems, he says. This is a one-way trip. It creates moral urgency to at least have this discussion properly. And this is why I'm still doing two. And then we have the New York Post. A single dose of Pfizer Moderna vaccine, COVID vaccine, nearly as effective as two. So they're basically continuing off of the December article, December 18, 2020, from the title. We haven't got into detail yet. Single dose of Pfizer Moderna vaccines more than 92% effective in preventing COVID-19 illnesses after 2 weeks. Canadian researchers are saying the FDA's own data shows that single shot of the BioNTech Pfizer vaccine, 92.6% effective. After 2 weeks, a single Moderna jab is 92.1% effective. The researchers note in the New England Journal of Medicine getting that second shot of Pfizer vaccine hikes the efficacy only marginally to 94%. According to a separate study based on the real-world data from Israel vaccination program. And so the prescribed second dose should be given instead to those in priority groups who are still waiting for their first shot, given the current vaccine shortage, the researchers urge. With a highly protective first dose, the benefits derived from a scarce supply of vaccine could be maximized by deferring second doses until all priority group members are offered at least one dose. The researchers say in a letter to the NEJM editors. Not sure what that is. There may be uncertainty about the duration of protection with a single dose, the researchers said, but the administration of the second dose within 1 month after the first also recommended provides a little added benefit to the short term, while high-risk persons who could have received a first dose with a vaccine supply are left completely unprotected. A letter was written by Dr. Danuta M. Skoronsky, nailed it, of the British Columbia Center of the Disease Control in Vancouver, Dr. Gadson Desirez of the Institut National de Santé Publique du Quebec in Quebec City. I tried. In a letter to the NEJM responding to two researchers, Pfizer stressed that alternative dosing regimens still need to be evaluated. So I'm saying, like, so they're saying that you don't need two shots, you get one shot with a 92% efficacy rating. As long as you clear it with your doctor, it's a good step. All right, last article. Bam. The US has secret evidence of UFO breaking sound barrier without a sonic boom and performing moves humans don't have the technology for, says Trump Director of National Intelligence. And let's just point out, in December, a 180-day deadline was announced for a report into UFO sightings. Let's be clear, it's not just UFO sightings. The 180 days was signed in after the second stimmy check bill was signed into office. After 180 days, they must release what they know about the UFOs, UAVs, but now they're actually calling it UAPs, unidentified aerial. I don't know, honestly. Actually, there you go. Unidentified aerial phenomena. And this is a UFO issue that I just found actually. Um, yeah, I'll read into it a little later. Let me know if you want me to publicize some of that on the YouTube channel. So UAP means unidentified aerial phenomena, right? The US has evidence of UFOs breaking the sound barrier without a sonic boom and making maneuvers impossible without known technology, the former director of national intelligence has revealed. The revelations increased excitement about a forthcoming report detailing what the US government has observed. John Ratcliffe, who served as Donald Trump's director of national intelligence, said that many of the incidents still have no easy explanation. There are a lot more sightings than have been made public, Radcliffe told Fox News. Some of those have been declassified. And now we can talk about sightings. We are talking about objects that have been seen by Navy, Air Force pilots, or have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain. Movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom. We're just known for making sonic booms, traveling supersonic speed. That's where our technology is. We still make sounds, we still pollute. We're trying to get to that point where these UFOs come in, make no sound, make no pollution, and zip out with the speed of light. Maria from Jasper UFO deadline, government disclosure, what is known to about them. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking up these things. Usually quite a few of them have been made public.
Actually, is a program that's been in place for a few years in terms of a task force that
yes, these are some of the UFO videos that they were publicizing.
has been there under the National Defense Authorization Act. But as you correctly point out, Maria, there's now a report that will be issued by the Pentagon, by the Secretary of Defense and the Director of National Intelligence. I actually wanted to get this information out and declassified before I left office, but we weren't able to get it down into an unclassified format that we could talk about quickly enough. But frankly, there are a lot more sightings than have been made public. Some of those have been declassified. When we talk about sightings, we're talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain, that movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom. So in short, things that we are observing that are difficult to explain. And so, there's actually quite a few of those, and I think that information is being gathered and will be put out in a way that the American people can see. We always, when we see these things, Maria, we always look for a plausible explanation. Weather can cause disturbances, visual disturbances. Sometimes we wonder whether or not our adversaries have technologies that are a little bit further down the road than we thought or that we realized. But there are instances where we don't have good explanations for some of the things that we've seen. And, when that information becomes declassified, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about that.
All right. That's another picture with a little lit up dots. I mean, you can have your own skepticism about it. It's just, let the government come out with what they got, and then we can scrutinize what they got from there. This is the what they call this one, the Tic Tac, because he was this little Speedy Gonzalez over here. 3,000 documents on the unidentified area phenomena. Governments usually official terms of common UFO status. Yes, the on the Black Vault. Okay, so the Black Vault is another website that I also watch, pay attention as well. It's forgot the guy's name, but he's very good. He does a lot of detailed information. He actually files for the Freedom of Information Act for every UFO sighting, and he publicizes as much as he can. For more information, check out theblackvault.com and check him out. Let him know I sent you. I'm trying to hear what he got to say in person. But that's the end of my video for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Am I a bad reader? Should I parse through information a little bit more so that you don't hear me stutter? But I appreciate it. And shout out to you, first subscriber. Never forget you. I appreciate you always.